So I just got all these fancy new tools from Tekton, and what better way to break them in than with a project? Let's get to it. And yes, that project is going to be on the truck. See you later if you guys are going to stick around for that. But for those of you that are still watching, I will give you a little teaser, because in the last video I showed you this motor, and that motor is going in the Wrangler. But that is absolutely not the purpose of today's video. Today's video is a new bumper for the truck. So I spoke with my friends at Hooke Road who made the sweet rack that we put on the roof of the JL, and I told them I needed a bumper for the truck. So I asked them if we could do another install video for a sweet front bumper for the truck, and they said no. They said no because they're actually redesigning the front bumper for the 2014 F-150, and they wanted me to wait for the new version, but they did send a rear bumper. And that is exactly what we have right here. So let's break into this box and check it out. This thing is beefy, and it's got some cool integrated lights, which is awesome because the windows on this truck are so dark, I really can't see out when I'm backing up. Like I mentioned before, you do have the LED reverse lights built in. There's also going to be mounting locations for your backup sensors, as well as your trailer lighting, and it has a built-in LED license plate light. Of course, Hooke Road branding, and you do have integrated tow points. These are all welded in. We'll flip it over and double check the other side as well. And they're also welded in from the back. So just like most of the things that we install, we're upgrading what was already there. And in this case, it's no different. We got to start by pulling off this factory bumper.
All right, so I managed to get some kind of sickness, and it's been a few days. But I did fast forward past the removal of the stock bumper. As you guys can see, that thing is pretty flimsy. So I'm not going to make you guys watch me take that off, but I do want to go ahead and swap over the sensors. So let me show you guys what that looks like on the new bumper. I apologize about my voice. That was the first thing that went with the sickness. So anyways, on the back of the new bumper, you're going to use a 3mm Allen key to pop out this retainer plate, and then you can pop your sensor into the hole and secure it back with that plate. And the sensor goes in just like so. It should seat relatively easily. And then I'm just going to twist this plate back over and tighten it back down. So the sensor is in here a little looser than I would like. So I may find something to kind of shim this down, make it a little bit tighter. The sensor is not going to come out, that's for sure, but I don't really love that it jiggles around so much, and I definitely don't want it rattling. So I'm going to find something to kind of shim that down. I may actually just bend this piece just a little bit and see if that'll tighten down on there. So you probably can't see it on here, but I did exactly that. I bent this tab just slightly with a pair of vice grips, and that actually snugged it up pretty well. So I may end up having to do that on all 4 of those backup sensors, but nevertheless, just a tiny little adjustment and we are good to go. All right, so we got all 4 sensors transferred over. Yes, I did end up doing the little bend trick to all 4, but they're all seated now. All right, now our sides are gonna go on next, and they are pretty straightforward. Because this is 2 pieces, they actually did include a little piece of foam to go between the 2 metal surfaces. I like that a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a 19mm ratchet and wrench and bolt this thing together. One thing to note, as you are tightening this up, this is 2 pieces, but you kind of want to get all of these edges as flush as possible. So make sure you're not letting gravity do its thing. Pull it into the position that you want it and then tighten it up. And just so you can see, as I was mentioning in that last step, the bottom is kicked out just a little bit, and then it's a little bit high on the top here when I put these 2 together. So I'm gonna loosen it up, get that tolerance just a little bit closer. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. All right, guys, so the bumper is fully assembled. Now, the last thing that I have to do before I can put it on is gonna be to mount the actual bumper mount brackets to the truck. Let me show you what those look like. All right. And these are gonna be those 2 bumper mount brackets. They are gonna be specific to the side that you install them. And this is what that's going to look like for you. You're gonna wanna have the 2 even slots at the top, and this is gonna go behind our factory trailer hitch and be bolted through with this stock bolt and retainer ring. So there is a little trick to it. Because of this bracket, you're going to want to feed this through the cutout, and then you'll line up with the bolts on the back side, and it'll sit flush like so. Now from this point, I'll go ahead and bolt this back into that factory location. Don't mind that loud noise. I don't know what it was. But I'll get these nuts started again, and then our bracket will be located properly to mount our bumper. And of course, when you go to tighten up those bolts for the trailer hitch, you do want to tighten those up to the proper torque spec, because you definitely don't want to sacrifice any of your towing capability just for a bumper. And we finally reached the point where we're ready to go ahead and throw the bumper on. However, there's really not a good way to do this with just one person, but I'm working with what I got. So watch me struggle. And we're losing daylight really quickly, but before you go and tighten anything up, make sure that all of your gaps are even side to side. As you can see, it's a little bit further out this side than the other. So I'm gonna push the whole bumper to the left a little bit to the driver's side, just to make sure we're dead even. Probably another good way to check that is gonna be with the logo over your trailer hitch, but I'm not certain on that. So definitely check your gaps, and then you can start tightening everything from the top to the bottom. All right, friends, now the last piece. I just stepped in dog. All right, guys, so the last piece to this puzzle is wiring up those lights. And for me, I'm gonna wire them straight up to the reverse lights for now, but I will likely end up putting them on a 3-way switch so that I can turn them on at any point that I want them to be. But that'll come down the line. I'm gonna show you what to do to tie in to your reverse lights. And the first part of that is going to be to remove these screws so that we can take off the taillight. And now that we're on the inside of the taillight, this center bulb is actually going to be the power and the ground for the reverse light. So that is going to be what we tap into. So we're going to need 2 of these inline connectors as well as 4 butt connectors. Obviously, you can always solder all of your wires together and avoid using electrical connectors, but these have always worked well for me. And because these are just additional backup lights, I think they'll be fine. I'm also going to use some additional wire. All I happen to have on hand right now is going to be black, I'm going to do these one at a time so that I make sure that I don't get them mixed up. But all the wires are going to be black, so it is what it is. All right, so forgive me, the lighting isn't the best under here, but as you can see, I started on the passenger side. I'm gonna wire up the power all the way across to the additional driver side rear light, and then we're gonna tie those in together before we run that up to the actual back of the taillight. We'll do the same thing for the ground. Again, I said I'm doing this one at a time so that I don't have to worry about getting any colors mixed up since I'm using the same black wire, but it's what I had available. They don't send a wiring harness with the bumper, so this will do the job. All right, so as you can see, I ran the wire from the passenger side light over, connected it with the wire to the driver's side light, to another butt connector, and then this butt connector I have running out. This portion of the wire is going to go straight up and up into where the taillight housing is, and then we'll use that inline connector on the top side. And once we have that wire fished up, we can throw our inline connector onto the blue wire with the white tracer. The colors may be a little different, but generally black is going to be ground, and then the other colored wire is going to be your power. A little difficult to do on camera, but as you can see, I just went ahead and pushed the blade through. Now we'll go ahead and close that up, and the power connection is good to go. And you'll repeat that exact same step for the ground connection, and then you should have reverse lights. And that's a wrap, guys. We got the bumper. It is all installed, all set up. Everything is good to go. I think it looks great. I'll throw some kind of B-roll in here so you guys can tell me what you think. There is a link in the description as well as a discount code to anything that Hooke Road has. So feel free to go and check that out. They make things for obviously trucks, Jeeps, all different kinds of makes and models. And so far, I've been relatively impressed with what they have to offer. So go ahead, hit that link down below. Hopefully we can get a front bumper installed on this very, very soon. And until then, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.